Hello. So, Tootsie, this video is for you. They're all for you, honestly. But today is June 21st, 2021, and I'm feeling very depressed. I've been without you for almost 5 years now. And, your father's side of the family, the Collins side, decided that they would keep you from me because they would tell the local authorities that I threatened your life and I threatened their lives. But having been 5 years and nothing has happened physically, they have no proof and they look like fools. Because I'll never do anything to harm anyone like that. The only thing I ever do is hurt myself. Like this cut on my leg, these cuts here, very deep. They told me if I would have cut any deeper, it would have been slicing the artery. But that was last year around your birthday, October. So, sometimes I just can't control how much I hurt inside for all the times that I tried to speak out and no one listened to me. All the pain I've had. I wanted to share with you. I wanted you to understand where I was coming from when I said aggressive things. Because saying things doesn't mean you'll act on them. Acting on them proves mental distortion. Just like your father, who's kept you from me when I tried to apologize for years. Your father promised me when I signed over the paperwork, which I didn't know that signing that divorce paper would sign over the custody to you. I didn't know that. If I would have known that, I would have never signed those papers, because I know that I would have been able to manage to afford for you at some point, even without him and his crazy family who physically assaulted me years prior. All of this is recorded in documentation. They tried to say that it was me that was the aggressor, and no, it turns out it wasn't. Turns out I ended up with diagnoses for post-traumatic stress disorder, and I still, to this very day, can barely get out of bed. I get afraid. I get afraid to go out in public. I get afraid to be around anyone because my family was so manipulative too. You know, my dad being a pedophile, my brother molesting me. You're gonna end up finding all this stuff out anyway. You would have known, but I wouldn't have said it to you in this form or waited for these videos to be posted for you till you're 18 and you can find me, because I know you will. Everyone is curious about their family and where they stem from. They said I was mentally ill, that I just was sick, and that's what I just couldn't be around you. When in actuality, they were sick, physically assaulted me, raped me, and still expected that I was going to be hunky-dory with it, go with the flow. And when I started getting aggressive verbally, they couldn't handle it. So, I guess the story begins with the fact that I was raised by my father that was an illegal immigrant that came up to Wisconsin and married my 16-year-old mother, which they said that they got married, but my mother's name on my birth certificate is her maiden name. So I'm not really too sure about my entire life and its existence in the first place. I've always called myself a bastard, and I always have lashed out at people because I was ostracized growing up and picked on for being clustered with my crazy looking family. 5 kids, I was the middle of it. I was the fairest of them all, the fairest skinned, and green eyes and brown hair, and the rest of my siblings had black hair and brown eyes and darker skin than me. So I was always picked on in the family for being the little white girl compared to like all the cousins and everything too that were darker skinned. Was never the cool one, really, aside from the fact that I had really good talents of like drawing and I, just little things that I could do here and there, and my compassion toward animals. So, and that's a gift most people don't have, can't comprehend. So, I was raised my whole life trying to find where I fit in, and I am still looking for that to this very day, although I'm doing it on my own. I decided that I wasn't going to let the opinions of my crazy family or, who are they? They allowed all this crazy trauma to happen to me as a child. My father was beating us constantly, beating up my mother, beating, my sister and her life. I don't even want to get into all of that because the sexual abuse was just horrendous. So when I told your dad about this, Tara, I explained that to him. I told him that I really didn't need any kind of like, I wasn't trying to get into a relationship, but what happened was he met me at Petco and where I was working at that time because I was working 2 jobs, and I told him, I went up to him and I said a really odd statement. I remember exactly how it went. One of the funniest things I think I've ever said to anyone in my life. And I told him that I worked at another location, and he came over to that other location, which was a Mexican restaurant where I was tending bar, and he showed up. And by then, I had invited him over, and I kind of threw myself at him. I liked him a lot from the moment that I met him because he tried. He tried to get to know me, and most dudes, they just... Yeah, I mean, your dad's no different than any other man that, just puts on a facade, a front in order to get close to a woman and manipulate her. So he and I started a discussion, discussing back and forth, and he really liked me because I had my own place. I was renting to own my own mobile home at that time, and this is like 2010, sometime in there. And because it was March 2010 when I moved into that mobile home, and by a year's time then thereafter, or actually by later that year, I had met and started dating your father. And he had told me through text that he had a job offer to go to Pennsylvania, and that he would be looking at, I don't know, rock layers, like geographical stuff. So I just was like, okay, sure, that seems like a really good choice for you. You seem kind of smart, like, go for it. Well, I didn't realize he wasn't, like, entirely truthful the entire time we were together, Tootsie. So he had told me things when we were discussing, he said, oh, my ex-girlfriend wants me back. And I was like, well, and after a month of talking over the phone and everything, I said, well, I want to try to date you, so why not? So anyway, he got in trouble for burning down a trailer where he worked, or so he said. I don't know if any of the things that he has said is true or not. But this is coming from me. This is my story. This is coming from my perspective. This is how people have manipulated me into doing things I didn't want to do. Manipulated me into doing things because I have such a big heart and I'm just so gullible looking and so naive, and people just lure me into like this state of submission because they say, I'm gonna love you forever. And I didn't realize that I had an issue with that, like abandonment issues, and that I was seeking love in all the wrong places and looking through it, not realizing that I had a sexual distortion because of the sexual trauma that I had withstood growing up. So then I started realizing within the last few years after the divorce, me and your dad have been divorced since December 2015. And so yeah, what, 5.5 years now. So back to, anyway. So I can't wait to see you though when you come and find me, because that's going to be way better than having your dad separate us for his stupidity and his lack of faith in me, but still manage to put his penis in me. I mean, he's disgusting. Men are disgusting, and you'll realize that. And there's no hiding it. I mean, I'll tell you why through my stories, because these are actually what have happened to me, and there's no other way to contact you about this stuff. There's no way to influence you in a positive way. So I am just going crazy on my own, not necessarily anymore. I would normally be bawling, and I would normally, but after I've lost all this weight and gotten down to the appropriate size that I feel, and then also working still on that, I know I look great for losing 150 pounds, but after your grandma and great-grandma and great-grandpa and 2 of your cousins physically beat me up, I think it was 2017 is when that happened. They beat me up because I told one of the cousins that she was a bad mom because her daughter, Maddie, you know her, Maddie, when you were in my belly, she leaned over and was resting on me, and she said, "I wish you were my mommy." And Glenda was there, Ron was there, Brandon was there, and also Brandy. So, like, there's no hiding what had happened between everything, and I knew that she was a terrible mother because of the way Maddie was reacting. So when I was on hydrocodone that day, when they assaulted me, because I was on hydrocodone from the dentist, a high dosage of it, and I told them that I felt like they didn't love me enough, they went ahead and proved it. They went ahead and proved that. So whatever they say to you, whatever they have tried to distort your mind with about the perception of what actually happened, I've been in therapy since I was 12 years old, since my first suicide attempt. I know the differences in emotions. So when I acted out during the divorce and prior to the divorce, nobody understood why, but I knew why. I was getting back at everybody for all the abuse. And I'll tell you in a little bit exactly what happened then thereafter. But let's get back to the story about how I met your POS father, okay? The one that kept you from me for all this time and will continue to do it because he's a coward. He told me when we first met that I was intimidating because of my intellect, because I'm horrifying, because when I threaten and promise to do something, I'll do it. So they thought that I was going to kill them physically on this plane. But bitch don't play like that. I don't play like that. I play from a much more energetic level. So I know that they're going to get their just rewards soon enough. The universe is giving them tiny blessings until ripping them all away. Because you don't harm other people, and you don't lie, and you don't manipulate and destroy and potentially cause a person's suicide. Your family on that side, the Collins side, wanted to push me into killing myself because I couldn't handle the trauma. And I couldn't. Normal people shouldn't have to deal with physical assaults. But I'm not a normal person. And you need to realize that, where I come from and what I've overcame. I came from Beloit, Wisconsin. Born in Madison, Wisconsin. Was raised in Afton, Wisconsin. That's where most of my horrific memories stem from, because we were out in the country and no one watched over what my father did to us. Sick perversions, having us line up while he took turns like beating the shit out of us or being angry at us for no fucking reason, and us just wanting to be kids. But we couldn't, because he needed us to clean the cars. He needed us to do this and that. So as I was still living through my trauma, I ended up getting pregnant with you. And I was like, oh my God. I told your dad, I said, I can't handle this. I can't do this alone. I mean, I feel like this is just, I was horrified. I cried. I was so sad. I said, Tootsie, I didn't want you to be born into such a horrific world where I had been abused and manipulated to a certain point. And like your dad, he gets down and we're in the bathroom. I remember this moment. I'm bawling my eyes out and he's like, I'll be there for you. I'll always be there for you. Leticia, like, so there you were, swimming around in my belly. And this was January or February. See, what had happened was I was on birth control. We'd only been dating a little bit over a year, say a year and a half, me and your dad. Things were going okay, I guess. I mean, there really wasn't an issue. I don't think at that point I had pushed him into going back to school. I can't remember, but I told him that, his GED, he said something about like he graduated high school, which turned out to be a lie. He said that when he contacted his high school for, his, what is the word? Transcript, that they said that he was a half a credit short of graduating. And he was too old to go back to go and finish that credit. So he had to do the entire GED. So he did the GED because I coerced him. I said, you're really smart. I think you can do it. This is cool. Like, go for it. Always encouraging to your dad. I was always there as his, like, and you can ask some of the people that I've interacted with throughout my life how bubbly I've been and how encouraging I have been, because I've lived through these demons of self-sabotage and of thinking that I wasn't good enough because of the things people had done to me. So there I was encouraging your dad. He went and got his GED, and we ended up, got pregnant a year and a half into it, and I was on birth control, and I had a scope done, some kind of scope where they had looked at the cervix, tapped on it, possibly opened it up, okay? And that's how you were created, because I was on one form of birth control which was the pill, and I was switching over to another brand of birth control, which was another pill. And because I wanted the least amount of hormones as possible, but I still wanted to be a filthy whore and have sex, which now I haven't been on birth control for 5 years, and I realized the differences in my mood fluctuations, which there hardly are any, and I can manage them a lot better. And it was because of all the additives and pharmaceuticals that they were pushing on me for years, but now all I do is smoke medicinal marijuana, and I can manage to, like, gauge my emotions better, stay calm during a lot of stressful encounters, and not want to hurt myself at the end of the day, the middle of the day, the morning. Sometimes I have those bouts of depression throughout the day. It's called bipolar, right? My mood swings. That's completely normal for people to have those. It's completely normal to have an equilibrium, to have a balance throughout your day of emotions. But your father pinpointed all of my aggressive emotions during the divorce and highlighted those for the authorities and highlighted them for any of the judges and whatnot. And when I had signed you over, I didn't know, like I said. So we'll get back to that in a minute and how he manipulated that situation. But so you were born, but I was sad. I was extremely sad that I was a mom at that age. I was 25 when I had you, and I thought I would never have kids. I thought, no, this world is really fucked up, and no, I don't want any children. So I had you, and you were the best thing that ever happened to me. But I was still trying to heal myself, and I couldn't heal myself as well as give all of my love to you. So, and everyone knew how drained I had, gotten through everything because I was raising you by myself, essentially. Your father got his GED. I pushed him into going to school for the welding, the airplane parts. I said, I encouraged him to do other things, so he did. He went off to do all that stuff while I sort of maintained the home with whatever finances I had created through like low income assistance and all these different things I was affording for us when you were a baby. It's true. So all the couponing that I did, all the breastfeeding that I did, I just drained myself, and I'd gotten really heavy set and just was so in love with you. It just didn't matter to me, I thought. And then the physical assault happened, and your father had already been talking to his ex-girlfriends, so it wasn't even like a big thing. I knew your dad was cheating from a long time because I caught him on the couch jacking off, like while I was tending to you, and he was texting someone at that time. So he was on his phone doing it, and I knew that if inevitably you were going to find these stories out anyway, because I couldn't lie to you about the way that your dad treated me, mistreated me, and then went on to go try to have another relationship with someone else that he left me for and left me for dead for, by leaving those loaded guns in the house and taking you away. He wanted me to go crazy and either put myself in prison or to blow my brains out. What else did he think was going to come from that? And then he is so happy that he got me on harassing communications, but everything comes full circle, buddy. Karma is a bitch. So these videos are going to exist for you until you're 18 years old, or I could take them down, but it doesn't really matter anymore because your dad wants you to know the brutal truth through my harsh honestness. That's what everyone loves about Leticia and hates at the same time. Her brutal fucking honesty. Because I see things from a different perspective than most people. I spent a lot of time in Imagination Station growing up, even to this day, because I know that everything is monitored and recorded and watched, and everything can be tracked and traced. And I tell people about my conspiracy theories, the conspiracy theories that turned out to be true throughout history, and how it all correlates to the fact that I am what I am, and my father snuck into the fucking country, and we have all these other Hispanics. And I told people about, certain people are allowed at a certain extent to get away with things, and some people, they just don't care because they want to see how well it plays out. It's funny to those upper class people that have access to everyone. I just joke about this stuff, or do I? So anyway, back to the story about how you were born on a Saturday. 2:22 p.m. is when you popped out. It was raining, sprinkling that day. I had been induced the Friday prior, so I was in having contractions for a while. I got to 6 centimeters, and I wanted your dad to hold my hand. I said, I don't know if I can do this. This hurts, because I didn't work out during the entire pregnancy, not gonna lie. I didn't gain a lot of weight until the very end, and then in the end I had gained 40 pounds or 20 pounds or something all at once within the last month. So I ended up with preeclampsia, and they had to induce me sooner than your prospective due date, which was the 21st of October. So I love you very much. I love everything about you. Everything. Your nickname is Tootsie because
I loved you from head to toe. And your little feet were the cutest things. And I see everybody with their happy families. It's cool. I got that moment to be with you, to raise you properly, as opposed to what they're doing to you now. So, fed you an organic diet. The reason you didn't speak much is because I taught you baby sign language so that you could interact with me without having to, vocalize too much if you didn't want to. So you were just a very passive child and not speaking. And we spent a lot of time just like coloring and playing with your toys. And I would pick them up every day. Everybody knew how OCD I was, how I didn't let you on the floor, how I would put things down, and, I was just a very, very codependent, I guess. I felt like everything I did should have been for you and for your dad, so I lost myself. I loved you very much, though. It was great being able to have you and being able to know that I put you on a great path, a successful path in life, because I took that effort to love you extra, whereas other mothers bottle fed their kids and went the lazy route of feeding them a lot of toxic fast food that I know that you get now, which it's not up to me anymore. I don't have custody of you anymore, so it's none of my business, is what they say, even though I'm your mommy, even though I watched and made sure that you were good for those first 3.5, 4 years of your life. We only had each other. And then they wonder why I went crazy and went into the mental hospital so many times, looking for you, looking for the dad that you have that promised me we would always be a family. The only family I'd ever known. Because my family was crazy. My mother is crazy. She reached out to me a few days ago and was saying how proud she was of me, and I didn't respond. How are you supposed to respond to something like that? I just don't even know anymore. I am just so over everybody and their toxicity, I just can't do it anymore. The reason why I'm not going to be able to afford gifts for you from now on is because your father lied to the Social Security Disability Department and said that I hadn't given any of that there. So they're taking that money away from me. And I won't have any money all summer. So I can't wait to tell you each of these things individually, face to face, so that you understand and recognize where I'm coming from and how many accomplishments I've actually done during the time that we've been apart, during the time that, growing up, because I know that you're very similar to me. I know that for a fact. I mean, your father is just going to end up suffering in the long run when you find out everything the way that I'm going to tell you now, because this isn't funny for me. This isn't fun for me. Being homeless and living on the streets this last year, literally having crackheads and everything to fight off, that's not fun. When I reached out to your father, he ignored me. He wasn't there like he promised when you were in my belly and afterward, which, by the way, when you were in my belly, he gave me no love whatsoever. I asked him, I said, will you wax my belly so that I can have so that I could stare at it and everything more. He didn't want to do that. I wanted him to rub my belly sometimes. I said, do you want to rub my belly or talk to my belly? And he didn't want to. So the fact that you were in my belly for 8.5 months, I sustained you during that time, and then thereafter proves that he really is not the greatest father, is he? After all, because when you were a baby, he changed very few diapers. I didn't want him changing the diapers because he's a man. And I think that he's mentally ill because his mother would walk around in such scantily clad outfits in front of everybody, like a long t-shirt with nothing but panties on underneath. That's not normal. It's not normal to walk around and try to be that perverse in front of your children. So, I mean, he was an adult, and he took me to meet his mother, and she was wearing a t-shirt like this that barely covered anything and was wearing just underwear underneath it. What? Like, how old are you? And no wonder you have a pacemaker now? But you want to go around thinking that you're hot how old are you? And when she found out that she was going to be a grandma, I gave them nice cards on Mother's Day. And I realize now that she thought she was going to be appreciated for being the shitty mom that she is on that day. And when I gave her the card and said, "Oops, you've got a grandbaby in here," she immediately hated me from the moment that we had met. Me and your grandmother, Loretta. Why? Because she wanted to be the one to influence her sons. That's why. Because she has a mental illness that hasn't been diagnosed. That's the difference between me and the rest of this family that you've got going on, is that I know my diagnoses and I work on them every day. But your father doesn't know his, and none of these people, so mental illness, mental distortions do run in your family. And you will need to speak to me at some point. If I stay alive that long, if my journey doesn't bring me to the point of getting strangled to death, or raped, or murdered in my sleep, or robbed, if my journey takes me on the path where I can still be saved until I'm there for you, because I promise myself now that I'm not going to try to commit suicide as much as I want to, as much as I would love to get the fuck off this plane and away from all these fucking perversions. These sick people that don't know what compassion is, that don't know what love truly is. So I sit around and I wait. Wait for you to come back, because I know inevitably you're going to be able to. So I ended up having you. So then I ended up all that stuff happened. We were raising you. I did a wonderful job. We were trying to get along with all the family. And then in like 2017, they beat me up. Your father was still doing things behind my back. And I would tell him too that he was free to go and hang out with his friends. Even though I had no friends, I had no life, I was busy taking care of you, I didn't give a fuck. You were the most important thing to me, and you still are the most important thing to me, just so you know. Not a day goes by that I don't keep you close to my heart, and I think what would be the best for Tootsie. Because I said, "Do you want to be an angel, Tootsie?" You know what I meant by that? Because if I murder myself, if I commit suicide, everyone will think of you differently. Everyone will think of you as a little angel. Okay? There's a huge difference in my phrasing. So people need to realize that I'm poetic and I'm artistic, not autistic. I'm artistic. And I have just all these creative mind flows. I can't stop it sometimes. I just speak. Because that's the only thing I could do to protect myself growing up. And that's when I stood up to my father. Spit in his face. Ended up homeless at 17. Homeless now. Do I give a fuck? If this is how the universe wants to tend to me, another piece of trash that was born a little mudblood. Wait, yeah, mudblood.
mudblood, that a little mixed mutt, that I didn't quite get the right education that I wanted, that I was seeking, that I was craving. If I could only be given the proper opportunities to get that advanced higher education, then I'd have a doctorate or something. But no, I went through all this stress. No one had faith that I would accomplish anything whatsoever. Now I'm succeeding through proving my self-worth, regaining myself, and everybody's like, oh goodness, like, where did this come from? But I've always had it inside of me, and it's just going to progressively get better, because I am getting over the trauma. And if I were to see your father to this day, let's just say, I'm not trying to strangle or spit in your face. I'm not trying to disrespect you like you've disrespected me for over 5 years now. Well, let's see, our relationship stems approximately 10 years now, somewhere in that range. Our daughter is going to be 9 years old. And yeah, we've known each other over a decade now. And I'm not gonna just disappear out of Tara's life like you think that, oh goodness, if I get her to sign this over and force her into believing this and that, she'll just disappear. We'll get the cops to get all these restraining orders and she'll get the idea. What's the idea? That you're fucking crazy? That you're crazy for keeping a loving mother, creative and artistic, and could offer something very cultured to your child, because I speak 2 languages, and are you fucking crazy? And then you got remarried to that trash that you grew up with? That fucking trash that looks like a fucking Miss Piggy? And you think that that's gonna be the one that's gonna raise our child to the point where, like, she's gonna feel like a lady? That she's gonna feel like some self-worth after being born to trash people like me and Brandon? Adriana, please. I tried to contact you civilly also to see if I could, like, get photos of my kid or whatever. You're trash. You did nothing but block me. And if any woman knows the pain of losing a child, they would understand and be more compassionate. That wasn't compassionate, was it? You fat cunt. So, yeah, you're always gonna be a fat cunt. And inevitably my daughter will see how much I fucking loathe you people. And she's gonna choose my side because she's gonna recognize that psychology proves the facts. Science proves what had happened. That there's distortions here that haven't been diagnosed. And it's not on her mother's side, because her mother is actually very healthy. I'm actually very physically healthy too. Look at the Collins side. Yeah. I'm pretty sure she's gonna recognize where a lot of health issues are stemming from, and she's gonna try her best to stay away from that, inevitably. So you're all just fucking yourselves by keeping her from me longer. Because Tara is never gonna see it from your side. Get that. When she sees how cool her mom is, how loving her mom is, and how she never did anything to, I never did anything to Tootsie. Tootsie was always safe with me. Brandon, you can suck my dick. Yeah, yes, I talk to your family like that. Yes, I talk to everyone like that because they don't deserve my respect. They're physical aggressors, simpletons. They get hyped up over words because they can't communicate any words themselves. So fuck off, bro. All of you. This video is for my Tootsie, so I can express to her how life really is. And yeah, this is going to be for her when she's 18, but I mean, if you want, I mean, we could discuss it civilly, couldn't we, Brandon? You don't want to do that, do you? That's where the novel comes in. The truth.
the truth. So, yeah. Tootsie, I love you very much. It's already been 40 minutes. I always get so tired during these things because I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, these are my thoughts in the moments that I'm so distressed that I want to harm myself and I need somebody to talk to. So I think about it and I'm like, well, the only soul that I want to communicate with, yeah, my stupid ass mother tried to reach out. I don't want to talk to that bitch. She literally kicked me out so that my felon brother could have his 16-year-old little hoe stay over there with her, as opposed to letting me try to collect myself in my fucking life and see where it would lead if I could go into higher education and stuff again. But no, she would rather put faith in her felon brother, or my felon brother, her felon son, and his fucking of little hoes. That's all she is, too, Ariel. Because, yeah, I mean, I tell everybody, don't do that shit. But they do it anyway. Destroying other people. So, I mean, be proud of yourself for being crazy. Because, yeah, I'm not talking to you, Tootsie, by the way. Once you get to know me, once you recognize that my mannerisms and just my thoughts are very much scattered sometimes because I need to write them. I need to do creative projects like artwork to get the abuse out, and do things like dancing. I do a lot of creative and interpretive dancing, kind of, just in wherever I am, wherever I get a good beat, and if I want to dance, I'm a strange person. I've always been, and I'm proud to be, because I know what my disorders are, and the disorders aren't even technically like bad things, in the sense that I recognize my mental awareness more than people that think that they're normal. No, that's why I don't drink. That's why I don't smoke cigarettes. That's why, because I keep away from all the stuff that's toxic to my body and I know alters my chemistry, because it's not good for me. If I do these things, then I end up in a really dark space. So once we start discussing that, and I can help you fix a few things here and there and heal you from all the trauma, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have a wonderful relationship. But your dad was traumatized too. His family, apparently, Loretta threw knives at him. That's what he told me, growing up, that she would do crazy stuff, that he would sleep on the floor with no blanket, no pillow, no nothing, or whatever. I don't remember all of it. But he was traumatized by Loretta, and his dad was never around. Shannon was never around to do anything, and he was just kind of like one of those dads that just doesn't give a fuck. So, too busy worried about themselves. And like on Brandon's 16th birthday, Loretta went out and got herself a vehicle because she deserved it. You give back to your children, you don't take from your children, and you sure don't take from your grandchildren. And you're distorting my child, your grandchild, everybody's, intertwined, whomever watches this video, which I know you will, because you can't help but be stuck to me. We're blood relatives now. We made blood within one another. So for you to think that you're just going to lock me up in some mental institution, and also my mother telling the attorneys and everything that I was better off in a state mental institution, and now she's trying to come back around, you're an alcoholic woman, and stop using all those pain meds. All right? It fucks with your brain, and then all of a sudden you want to text people all randomly. At least my emotions stem from pure trying to fix and better the situations. I really do not want harm to come to other people, even through my honest words and everything. I don't want you to realize how shitty you've been doing, but that's the only way to fix the situation, is for people to recognize when they've done wrong and attempt to change it. Now, your father didn't want to do that. He wanted to run away, and he looks like a coward. He looks like a coward to his friends. They think that, they do. They think that he is evil. A lot of people know your dad personally, and know how he dealt with the situation with me, and how he was lying and manipulative because he was worried, and he said, I'm worried for my own life. I think Leticia's gonna kill me. I think she's gonna stab me in my sleep. Oh, guess what? I didn't do that. Guess what? No one did that. And guess what? I know where you sleep now, and that's why I call it out on social media so that people can see it. And hopefully, you'll realize who you're truly fucking with. I'm over it. You know? Completely over it. I'm moving on. Literally. Not figuratively. Literally. And I want you to recognize, Colin's family, that until Tootsie sees this video, you know, when she can actually reach out and find me, you're all going to be fucked. Because the truth hurts, but it's the goddamn truth. So the fact that I even take better care of myself physically than you and your family, Brandon, she's gonna see that. She's gonna recognize that you didn't help her in the long run. You kept her from a cultured lifestyle. You kept her from a mother that enjoyed all things. I love nerdy things. I love anime. That's how we met, as being nerds. And that's how I'll always be. But I also like going to elegant parties and stuff. I went to a bonfire the other day. I mean, it was Midsummer's Eve. Anyway, but yeah, it's just, I'm over it. Completely over trying to contact you through your father. Trying to contact you through grandma and great-grandma, who deny me all the time access to you. And I created you. I told them when we were divorcing, I warned them, I said, if you continue, if you can't apologize, you won't see my daughter then. So they refused to apologize to me. And they went behind my back and they started having different celebrations. They said I was mentally distorted, but I was healing from the physical assault that they had done on me. Your grandma, Loretta, while I buckled you in that day when they assaulted me, she punched at me in the car and almost hit you. She almost punched you as a baby because of her insanity. Because at that moment, all she could do was physically assault me. There was photos taken of it where I was ripped to shreds, and they had no proof whatsoever that I touched them because I didn't touch them. I didn't fight back. I didn't fight back because I've kept my mouth shut. I thought I was supposed to be some submissive woman. That's what I learned through being with your dad. But that's not who I am. I am very much dominant. I'm very dominant. I can be submissive at times, yeah. I mean, it's just how everyone should be versatile like that. But I'm completely over it. Your father, during the divorce, after everything had happened, he told me, just sign these papers. We'll be together in the end. I still love you. Everything's gonna be okay. I just can't be with you right now. I said, no, I need someone with me. I can't understand these medications. They make me feel weird. I was not doing well. I was scared. And he cut and ran. So we were still sleeping together until 2 months after the divorce. There's proof of that too. So we were sleeping with each other, and he was promising me the world still, while he was busy collecting all his data for which woman would be more suitable for him, which one would be more financially
stable for you, Tara, because that's all your father actually did, was he went and married this other woman thinking that he would have financial stability. But it turns out she wasn't as financially stable as he had first anticipated, so he's had to do a lot more work and stressed out more than he had thought. And the weirdest things is that I only get these energies because I'm still attached to your father. I still get energies from him, and I get energies from you as well. So I know when you're like in a lot of stress, that's when I think about you the very most. Or if you're extremely happy, I think about you the most. So, and I try to just like refrain from thinking of you guys, because it's like I gotta live my life, right? Because I'm not allowed to talk to you. I've tried civilly, and I'm not gonna try to gain money because I already tried that. Stressing myself out doing jobs and everything made me want to slit my wrists every day. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't raise the money that I needed to get to the courts, to get visitations started, to do all this and that. So your father knew what he was doing when he got the most expensive attorney in town, and then he hid all that little things in this paperwork. We didn't do marriage counseling like the state of Arkansas states. So he made himself look like a victim. He made himself look like I was abusing him so much that he needed to get out and save his daughter. What? I was literally dying. Literally. Not metaphorically. I was literally dying. And then I had gained up to 150 pounds, like, or whatever. The heaviest I was 310. For 5'3", 5'2 and a half at that time, because I was hunchbacked. That's morbidly obese. So I was vomiting in my sleep, and I was trying to reach out and discuss with people. Tried to reach out to my family to see if they would help. I knew they wouldn't be there financially to help me or anything, and I didn't really want their filthy money anyway, because they mistreated me growing up, so why would I use tainted money from these people in order to try to solve a situation that shouldn't have been an issue in the first place? So I say, let them enjoy their money while it lasts. Let them enjoy this and that while it lasts, because karma comes around tenfold to people that are cruel, to people that are evil, truly evil. They said I was evil. Yet if you see me interact with children and animals to this day, people know I have one of the biggest hearts. I'm vegan now because I realized some of the mistakes that I had made about like all this stupid shit and like everything I take from the world, the lives that die, that keep me sustained. It makes no sense. Why should anything pass away in order for me to live when I barely want to live my own life every day? That's borderline personality disorder right there, where you just want to give up. There's no reason to be here because we know that the higher purpose behind all of this, our energy, frequency, vibrations. So I feel like I'm being kept down because all of these emotions are still trapped in me, and that's why I let them go in these videos. And it actually helps me a lot, because the way that I can get all of these brutally honest, just gut-wrenching emotions out, I can just move on with my days. You know, I can start picking up the pieces slowly and recognizing my self-worth here and there. And I haven't like been intimate with anyone sexually because I know that that was trauma that I just couldn't handle, being close to people intimately like that. I would love to have a relationship in the future, but that is nothing I'm seeking. The only thing I seek is self-awareness and purpose in this world. And I thought my purpose was to raise you when I had you. I always told everyone, I feel like I'm going to die when I have a child. And it was true. It was a death of an old me. Loving you was a death to all of my negativity and an open awareness to all the positivity in the world. I think about you positively all the time.
I'm actually super happy all the time. But when people catch me in these emotions or something, like they think that, oh, I'm constantly negative. No. Actually, throughout my day, I go off and I spread positivity as much as I can. Because I know I'm dead inside. This is just a corpse. I've been dead inside for many years, growing up and realizing that no one cared. Everybody watched me suffer and laughed. The sexual trauma, the physical abuse, the psychological abuse from being told I was always inadequate, having to fight my peers in school for, rankings. And I enjoyed that because it wasn't even like competition for me. It was, if I tried a little bit, I always succeeded because I was very intelligent. Still am. Still wish that I could do more with it. One day I will. So far, I'm just getting by. And I don't want that for myself. What I truly want, and for you, is to look back and say, wow, my mother's so strong. She overcame so much. Not just bullying or trauma, abuses, sexual, and all that, psychological. I want to be able to create again, and I still am. I'm slowly creating here and there. But I haven't found my place yet, so I still have more time to search for myself and to be more aware of my surroundings. Traveling, journeying through my life as a lone soul, just, I don't mind being alone anymore. It actually is better that way, because then I won't hurt anybody verbally, because everybody says my words, they cut them so deep. I'm sorry. Sometimes they're the brutal truth, the honesty that you're seeking, that the universe wants to provide you, and you just don't want to listen. I was knocked down to my knees, humbled, after losing you, after losing my property, after trying to seek a relationship that has ended for many years. That doesn't mean that me and you will ever have an ending, Tara. Ever. We will always be attached. Always. It's true. We're blood. So we'll always have that tie, at the very least. And then you can ask me things here and there. And hopefully by the time we reconnect, I'll have a doctorate or something. Or not a doctorate, but at least some kind of degree. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this summer finishes up. I didn't anticipate having to spend all of my money, having, $4,316 having to pay back to the state because I owe them for you. Which is weird, because your dad makes things probably seem like he's the only one that's ever tended to your needs and ever gave you anything, and that's a complete fabrication. I gave you so much more than he and his family could ever give you. The financial support that you're receiving from this moment and from the moment that you were stolen from me will mean nothing to you when I end up being able to financially support you beyond that point. I'm completely over it. I'm completely over the Collins's inappropriateness, disrespect. You don't disrespect me like that. You think that because you're older that you're wiser, and yet you're not. Bring your worries to me, and let's have an intellectual debate about how things truly are in the universe and how it works. And I pray you all do well. Tara, I love you. It's already been an hour, and I just wanted to get these thought process out and load the video, because there's going to be more videos. As long as I'm still breathing, I'm going to try to reach out and tell you bits and pieces of my story so that you know about me if anything were to happen to me. And I just never know any day, here and there, because I don't know if I'm going to be on the streets or off the streets or whatever. where I'm staying, where I'm sleeping. I love you, Tara. Just know that you come from a really long, strong line of women, all right? And we take a lot of shit, but we also give it. Okay? I love you, Tara, and I'll see you soon. I love you.